What's up, guys? This is Cat Attacks Live. Yay, we're back. It is spring now. Last episode I left off was like still winter. I'm back with a new episode, and we are here with a very special guest. I'm going to let him do the introductions. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, this is Krystof, tattoo artist extraordinaire, or maybe not so much.
Extraordinaire.
Wannabe musician.
Give yourself some credit,
Tries to be a car mechanic at some point. Jack of all trades, master of none.
There you go. Krystof, Chris Conant, my tattoo artist, wonderful person.
Hold the applause. Come on.
Woo! All right, guys. Welcome to a new episode of Cat Attacks Life. We are talking a lot about tattoos, music. We're going to get into some deep stuff in life. Krystof has amazing stories to tell here today.
I do?
You do.
Oh,
I
okay.
think so. This is actually the second time we've done
But I didn't go to band camp that one time.
No, one time in band camp. This is actually the second take of our attempts, or second attempt of our podcast.
Yeah, first one didn't work out.
First one was a test. This one is the real deal.
Well, there was that tornado that came through. That
Destroyed everything. This whole studio was gone.
Which was too bad because we really got into it in that last conversation, and we figured out the cure for HIV and cancer. And
the world's not ready for that right now.
But the recording got lost, and now we'll never be able to research it again.
The world's not ready for that. I guess that's a sign. All right, let's get into it, guys.
Okay.
So how are you? Let's start off with that. How are you doing?
What's
up?
I'm good. I went to the gym today for the first time in over a year. Yeah, because now that I got my second shot, I figured
vaccines.
I got the vaccine, so I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go to the gym. I don't have to worry about some people just not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not going to get too far into that because I know everybody's got their opinions on it. But felt comfortable going to the gym today. Went to the gym for the first time in over a year, and I feel like I got hit by a car. So yeah.
What'd you do?
Not much. I mean, I just did like 25 minutes on an elliptical, and I did chest, shoulders, and arms just to get back into it. And
not much compared to what we haven't been doing in the last.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I haven't.
A lot.
I haven't been to any fight gyms in a very long time. So I think the last time was I went to that time at Syndicate was the last one.
I think you went to Prototype too. Then you went hitting the bag.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Cool. Look at you getting back into the swing of things.
I just want to stop being in pain every day. You get to be my age. You don't work out for looks anymore. You work out for how can I function a little better? When it hurts when you blink.
Oh no! Tell me it doesn't hurt when I'm gonna blink and.
How old are you now?
25.
Okay, it started happening right around when I was 25 and a half. So
my blinking?
You have. Oh
my God.
You have that to look forward to.
My blinkers don't work.
No, I remember, I'm just kidding about the blinking, but I do remember almost to the day when I turned 30, like, I mean, I don't drink anymore, but the hangovers were lasting a lot longer, and, shit like that was just, like, getting really bad. And then 40, I actually dodged a bullet, because when I was 39, that's when I got hospitalized with my liver failure. Oof. And then, so 40, I started taking control of my life, and I got a lot healthier. So I was actually feeling okay when I was 40, but holy shit, like, then when I turned 50, it's like, man, things are hurting a lot more.
Really?
But falling off that ladder a couple days before my 50th birthday didn't help.
Right.
When I fractured my vertebrae.
Hardcore.
Extreme. Yeah. Compile that with all the mosh pits and the car accidents and a lifetime of stupidity, and you have all person. This. So,
you're a very extreme person.
Well, I don't think I'm all that extreme. I see all these other people doing extreme things, like fighting and stuff like that.
Punching each other in the face.
Yeah, I remember when UFC first started. Was that my phone? Hold on, I thought I shut
He's in demand.
All right, let's try that. When I first started watching UFC, I was very I was tempted to get into it because I was at a time in my life when me and my friends, we couldn't not get into a fight. We'd go to a bar. Right. We're the ones with the long hair and the heavy metal T-shirts and stuff like that. So you get some people that didn't like those kind of people. So we'd almost always end up getting into a fight, and we weren't opposed to it so much. We never started it, but we weren't opposed to finishing it. And and so then UFC came out. It's like, oh my God, these guys are getting paid for this. And then I saw one match. I can't remember who it was, but there was a guy. He was in guard, and the guy on top of him was, giving him the ground and pound, and the guy on top was bleeding, and I'm just watching all this blood like pour into this guy's eyes and mouth and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm a germaphobe as it is anyway, so I'm just like, ooh, hep, nope, nope.
That's the only reason why you haven't chosen is because it's dirty.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
That's
well, I mean, if you look at what happens to some of these guys, I mean, they get some major episodes of what do you call it, staff and stuff, even just training. Look at what happened with Kevin Randleman. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw those pictures online before he died, but he had quite a staph infection. I mean, there was a hole in him, and I'm just, nope.
Yeah, fighters are pretty gross. Take it from experience.
I mean, it is what it is. They choose to make a living doing what very few people on the earth would do. In my opinion, they should get paid a lot more. Mm-hmm. I'm not calling anybody out or anything, but it seems like, there's definitely somebody out there making a lot of money off of these fighters, or some people. And, the fighters that they're, when you factor in like, okay, this guy made, X amount of money for this fight, people think, oh my God, he only did 15 minutes and he made all that money. It's like, well, he also spent 6 months training, paying for nutrition, the lodging, especially people that, that are training out of town or out of the country. And then at the end, there's not a heck of a lot. And then what do they all have to do after a long fight? They have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody's ever, needed a tongue depressor from the hospital, but it's not cheap, in addition to all the other stuff.
Right. So extreme, but not gross.
Yeah,
a good description of
right.
how you are as a person.
Yes, extreme but not gross. That's I'm gonna get a T-shirt.
Very sanitary.
Yes.
Yes.
Most sanitary extreme guy ever.
Okay.
But I won't do that. That Meatloaf song.
No, too much.
Yeah.
So getting into tattooing,
Yep.
You are a tattoo artist.
Yes.
People don't know, I guess, like we're here. This is my tattoo artist, you guys.
That would be me.
Yeah, all of these pieces on my body are from this hand, this hand right here, this right hand.
This ugly looking hand, and I say that because whenever sometimes
masterpieces.
Sometimes when we have to take a picture of a hand for reference, and I take a picture. I got fucked up looking hands. I don't know what the deal is. They're just my joints look like they're going all over the place and stuff.
I don't know how you can dictate what fucked up looking hands.
Well, when you have a certain hand in mind that you want to do, and then you take a picture of your hand holding something, and it's like, why is my knuckle sticking out over? Why is my finger bent? So
are you comparing hands now, Krystof?
That's what I do. When you're a tattoo artist and you're looking for reference, you have the vision in your head, and it's hard to explain, but you have this.
It is kind of
you kind of paint yourself into a corner, like, no, this is the way it has to be, and my hand just isn't going to cut it. My big dumb hand, the one that can't even text properly.
No.
Well, look at this thumb. All right, you see
I love
how
you're not giving your hand enough credit. You know how much?
Well, look how jacked up that thumb is. Okay,
but how many years of like beautiful artwork and time and spent?
Yeah, 20-something years.
A long time.
Yeah, but it's still an ugly hand.
That's okay, hand. It's okay, hand.
Look at that artist. Who's that artist that drank absinthe and cut off his ear and mailed it to his girlfriend? But not a tattoo artist. It was one of the old masters.
You're talking about Van Gogh?
Yes, I think it is Van Gogh. I can't remember if it was Van Gogh or Monet.
Yes, the ear, the infamous.
Yeah,
ear.
drank. Okay, so I mean, he's probably got a pretty ugly ear now, but he was a great artist.
Oh yeah.
So you can have ugly body parts, but still be okay at what you do.
I guess that's your legacy now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your legacy now. Absolutely. Okay.
Extreme but not gross, except for my hand.
Sanitary hands.
Sandy hands.
Sandy hands. Okay, so go ahead and give us a little history on your tattooing, how long you've been in the game, where did you start, and all the good stuff.
I started tattooing in Connecticut in the late 90s. I'm from Massachusetts, but it was illegal in Massachusetts. So we had to go across the border. And fortunately, I only lived like 15 minutes away from the border. So I started in Connecticut. I was actually a counter person at a smoke shop that did tattooing in a little tiny room. And I used to draw tattoos for people. I, made stencils. I did a lot of the stuff. And then the tattoo artist just did the tattoos. And eventually, long story short, I worked my way up to being a tattoo artist. Started at a shop that wasn't known to be the best. I mean, they were known to have a lot of money and do a lot of advertising and stuff like that, but they weren't exactly known for their quality. But when I got in there was actually a pretty good team in there that helped me along the way. And then eventually they legalized it in Massachusetts, so that was cool because I didn't have to get taxed in multiple states in addition to federal taxes. So I went to Massachusetts and tattooed there, honed my skills until I moved to Vegas in 2008. And it's funny because I thought by the time I moved out to Vegas, I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and we always go through these phases
Right.
of, when we think we know what we're doing, then we look back at our portfolios. It's like, oh, I could have did this better. I do this differently now, And
What was one piece that you cringe looking at to this day? That was yours.
it's not so. I mean, fortunately, I've forgotten about a lot of those, but
It's like wiped from your memory. That
yeah,
deletes.
especially back in the day, it's like, ooh, I better drink a little of this to
Not
get rid of
me.
it. No, when you first start out, you're not doing the best work of your career because you're still learning, and I'm still learning to this day, but every once in a while, especially when MySpace started happening,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and the early days of Facebook, even I would post I'm a tattoo artist, and you start the networking thing starts happening, and more people are like friend requesting you and things like that, and somebody you don't even remember. Oh yeah, you did this tattoo on me X amount of years ago, and you're doing the math, and it's like I was probably tattooing about a week, and they're like, I love it, and they post a picture for your thousands of friends to see, and
Throwback Thursday.
oh geez, yeah, and it's like delete really quick,
Don't tag me in that.
yeah, not that it was a horrible tattoo. I mean, I did the best I could at the time, but it's like they're also taking it from a weird angle, and there's obviously a certain amount of aging done
I
because
feel like you're imagining one that you're not going to say out loud right now.
the funny thing is I don't actually remember a specific tattoo as much as I remember the incident, but every once in a while, and almost every tattoo artist will agree, it's like there's going to be somebody that reminds you, but they're happy with it, and it's like, oh
I
man,
feel like you're traumatized right now. There's a part of me that feels like you're not fetal positioning before thinking about your first tattoos.
But, and a lot of what I was doing at first, it was just flash off the wall.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, yep, that's the
that
one you
one.
want. There was this one guy, I didn't know what was going on. I do remember there was this one guy I was tattooing a clover on him, or
Okay.
I don't remember if it was a 3-leaf or a 4-leaf, but anyway, the needle was just like it just felt like there was something going on, and come to find out, the needle was actually hooked because it was
no.
yeah, and
Oh,
that was back
wow.
when we made our own needles. So I did something wrong apparently. So it had a tiny hook. So when the needle was going down, putting the ink in, when it was coming back up, it was snagging the skin. And
Ugh.
I didn't know what the hell was going on, And then it wasn't until a few weeks later that somebody else had something similar happening to them, and I happened to be watching, and they're like, oh, I got a hooked needle, and they broke out their eye loop, and they're like, oh yeah, I got to change needles, and I was just like, oh, that must be what happened when I was tattooing that guy. And I saw that guy years later, and I saw the tattoo, and it could have used a touch up, but fortunately it did not scar. I don't know how it did not scar,
yeah.
but we were very fortunate it
Yeah.
did not. So, but it's all part of the learning process, the things you learn. When I first started tattooing, there wasn't I didn't have an official apprenticeship. I had more of a there's a bunch of guys, you can watch and learn, but don't ask me anything, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach you, because back in the day people would kind of interpret that as well, not interpret it, but they didn't want you taking money out of their pocket.
Right.
So you can build your own following, you can watch them work, but ask so many questions, they didn't want to share it with you.
Was that all like an ego thing too?
I don't know if it was so much ego or if it was just that it's just the way it was, and you
culture.
respected that, and it wasn't. I was in a shop. A friend of mine got me started, and he helped me out tremendously. But when it was time to move on, I eventually got in working with a guy that had been tattooing since '71. He ended up becoming the most mentor figure that I've had. His name was Anchor. His name's still Anchor. He's out of East Hartford, Connecticut at Guideline Tattoos, and great guy. I mean, at the time he was this big jacked up biker that people would say he was an asshole, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I never got that out of him. I think they were just I think they were intimidated because he was just very straight to the point, and he would tell you he was a straight shooter, and that was the beginning of a culture that doesn't like being doesn't like dealing with those types
Right.
of people, and especially when so many people get offended by so many things nowadays. If 1980s 90s Anchor was like around right now doing the shit, oh man, that wouldn't be good.
Oh my gosh.
There's a certain amount of politically correctness that whether you're right or wrong in the way in what you are, it's kind of infiltrated into all of our lives in some way or shape or form.
Right.
You know, so he's mellowed out quite a bit. But yeah, back in the day, he was that big
Inker.
badass biker.
Shout out to Inker.
Inker, miss you, buddy.
All right. So, is there one piece specifically that you remembered, like, that kind of just was stuck in your brain, like, not good? It wasn't. I'm not talking about a bad one or a good one per se. It was just a story of yours that was like, you ran into someone who wanted a piece that was like very sentimental. Was there one that always sticks out, or a few? I know it's probably
there's a lot of them. I mean, you know, there's
along the way of your journey.
The first like really big piece I did was it was a set of angel wings on a guy's back, and it was interesting because he was a skydiving instructor, and he said, I want a full set of angel wings on my back, and he joked that would be his backup plan in case the chute didn't open, you know, and I was like, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. He's like, but, you know, because there's always a catch with everything. There was a skydiving magazine that wanted to feature him, and he said that they wanted to do a story on him, interview, and photos of him in 30 days. Now, he wants a whole back piece within 30 days. So this thing had to be healed up by then,
right,
to look good in the pictures, you know, because you don't want to take a picture and it's half scabby, half flaky.
You're telling me you did this in one session?
No, not one session, but back to back over 2 days.
Wow.
I did 12 hours the first day and 10 hours the next day because I outlined the whole thing and filled in one half of it on the first day.
Right.
The very next day, I was sore. I was beat up.
Right.
I was just like, "There's no way he's showing up," you know, and I wouldn't blame him if he didn't. And sure enough, there he is.
There.
Yeah, and I was like, "Cool, man, good to see you." And the other part of me is like, "Fuck."
Tired. And sore.
Yeah, but I mean, we got through it, and he was what a trooper. You know, what a trooper. And that really, that piece actually helped my career quite a bit because then that was the first one that, you know, people could look through my portfolio and know that I don't just do the stuff on the wall.
Right.
You know? So even though, I mean, back then you're doing a lot of custom work, especially tribal. You know, that was huge back in the day. So and tribal, people joke about, oh, I hated doing tribal, blah, blah, blah. And ask any tattoo artist that was tattooing back then, tribal and lower back tattoos and tramp stamps as they're called, or, hooker handles, ass hats, whatever. They put a lot of money in our pockets.
Right.
They put a lot of food on our table. Most tattoo artists at the time, they had these crappy little houses with full of cool shit, and those are the tattoos that bought all that cool shit.
Right.
All
right. So the angel wings was the big, that stood out to you the most.
That
sounds like a
at
good
that
story.
time it did. That's one that'll always kind of resonate for sure.
How long ago was that?
That was right around 2001, I want to say.
Okay.
Between 2000 and 2001.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's been a long time since then.
Yeah.
Not saying that in any... I don't mean to be offensive. But
No, I'm not offended at all. It was a long time ago. So.
If you did it now, would there be any kind of... Would you... looking back on it...
I probably would have done it a little differently now.
I can imagine it, but I obviously can't see it right now.
Yeah, I mean, my styles... my style of tattooing has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, let's talk about your style of tattooing.
Well, I don't know what my style is. People say that I have a style, and I don't know what my style is. I know that I have a vision in my head of how I want the tattoo to look, and I tattoo it until it resembles that vision.
I don't think you have a style either, to be honest. Everyone,
I try to be more versatile than anything.
yeah, everyone always compliments me on my stuff, and I love that. I get it all the time. Strangers, people I know, even the people I've known for years. Oh my God, is that new?
Right.
No, I've had it for 3 years. Looks like it. So stuff like that. Everyone would always ask me, is this the same person? I was like, yeah, it's the same person. It's there's so many different things going on. I was like, yes.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think you have a style, which is actually admirable.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that specialize in this and that, and that I have all the respect in the world for those people. They put a lot of work. They put a lot of work into developing that. But I've always been in these positions where I've been in these shops where having one style just didn't work for me because I don't know if it's because I would get bored easy or I'm a scatterbrain, so my head's all over the place. One day I want to do this, one day I want to do that. But also, you could be. I'll just shoot out an example. You could be like the ultimate Asian dragon guy, and that's you're the master at that. But the thing is, there might not be anybody that comes in for a long time looking for an Asian style dragon. Yeah. So what are you going to do in the meantime? So you got to kind of be good at everything, at least in Vegas, because there's people here from all walks of life that want different stuff. You don't want to just be that one trick pony.
Right. And I admire that.
Thanks.
I do. There's like, now that you mention it, there are a lot of people who just do like the same thing. We're gonna get into like how you feel about the TV shows that came out.
Okay.
Miami Ink, New York Ink, LA Ink, Ink Masters. Didn't you get an offer from?
Well, I was
like a audition.
I auditioned for one of the shows. I think it was Best Ink.
Okay.
It was called. It was kind of like a Ink Master ripoff, or well, not ripoff. Who knows who came up with the concept first? But it was a very similar thing, and you know, I didn't get the call back, which, you know, okay.
How did you audition? You just
they had a casting call somewhere. It was are you familiar with that bar Tommy Rockers that's down?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a casting call and they held it down there. So you just kind of did this interview and showed them your work and. You know, hope for the best.
Would you do something again in the future if they would? No? Why not?
I have no desire to be on a reality TV show for the simple fact of I like going to the grocery store and nobody knows who I am. I like, you know, just kind of doing my own thing and not being pointed at.
We also talked about how like in like past conversations, not even the last one, but like over like years, how because of the television aspect of tattooing, it really puts a different spin on what people expect from a tattoo artist, right?
Sure.
Like you were saying, like it doesn't take 2 hours to do a whole back piece.
Right. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the people watching the shows, they're kind of painting a picture that's not realistic, you know. And like you mentioned, you know, like you mentioned, you can't do a whole back piece because it took an hour on an episode. You know, it's like, well, they changed their shirt 4 times. Did you not notice?
Right, it's been like 3 days.
Yeah, this was a long time coming. You know, they filmed it in segments. And you know, the Ink Master and shows like that, they have their pros and cons in my opinion. You know, the pros are it definitely elevated the game. Yeah. So a lot of people, you know, it brought out a lot more artistic quality to the tattoos. The cons are, you know, when they have these elaborate prizes of $100,000 or things like that, you got every knucklehead that can draw a simple Van Halen logo. Their friends telling them, you should do that because you're a really good drawer. You know? And, you know, they only surround themselves by people that are, you know, not up to their level at anything. So they like to hear all the compliments and the praise and things like that. Right. And then when you know, see them in real life and you say, you know, when they're like, what do you think of this? It's like, oh, it's really not that good. They get really pissed off at you. It's like, well, hey, you asked, you know.
Keeping it real. The tea is hot.
Well, I mean, you're never going to learn. You're never going to learn anything if people are just kind of blowing smoke up your ass and saying, yeah, you did a really good job if it's not a really good job. So the best way to learn, I mean, that's the great thing about tattooing is, you know, that you will bump into some people that will tell you like, hey, you could have done this better. You could have done this better. And, you know, I heard it plenty of times. And, you know, that's how you use that to get better. You don't use that as a, well, screw that guy.
Have you ever ran into someone who you gave advice to and they just totally was like, fuck you? Fuck you, I'm better than you.
Well, the thing is, I haven't, no, I don't think I have. You know, I think. Or
do you say, like, you should do this better or you can do this
better? I don't give advice unless it's asked, first of all. So if somebody asks me for my advice, I'll be happy to give it, but I'm not the kind of guy that's going to walk up and be like, yeah, change that, do something different, you know.
How? You just put it on the skin.
Right. Well, you're going to have to extend that line a little longer. You know,
erase this real quick.
Yeah, I don't do that to people, and I would never do that in front of a client either, because you don't want the client to think that the person tattooing them is not up to the job. Absolutely. So,
was there anyone that had tried to give you advice and you didn't really respect their, like, it was kind of like, why are you giving me advice?
No, not at all, because I've well, you know, going back to especially when I was first starting, there wasn't a lot of advice willingly given to you. But, you know, I think anybody, even if it's somebody, like, say I'd been tattooing for 5 years, you know, and I would meet a kid that was tattooing 1 year and we'd just be in discussion. Yeah. He might have figured out a trick or learned a trick from somebody else that I never knew about. And, you know, it doesn't matter if they're, you know, better than you, worse than you, however you want to put it. And I don't even go into those terms anymore. I just think of like, okay, I tattoo differently than different people. You know, I'm not going to say I'm better than them or worse than them. It's just I approach it differently. They approach it differently. And whoever's, I don't think there's a right or wrongs. But, you know, if somebody with less experience has something to offer and it's advice, it's like, sure, you know, why not take it? Right. Why not add it to your arsenal, you know?
Have you ever been annoyed in a shop, working for a shop, or like sitting in a session and just be annoyed of something.
Sometimes, I mean, you can get difficult clients.
Yeah.
And that can get annoying. Every once in a while you get the client. I joke with other tattoo artists. It's the play-by-play, and it's the, ooh, that spot, I can really feel it there. Ooh, that spot right there. Oh, that spot right there. And it's like every 4 seconds, they're saying this. And, when you're doing a 3-hour tattoo, and there's a lot of that going on. Annoying. So that gets annoying. There's a few things, or the, how do I put it? The checking every single thing you do. So, as you know, I'm tattooing you, and then I stop to dip into the ink, and I'm going back. And every time I stop to dip,
they move their arm.
Oh, yeah. But most people aren't that annoying, and when I say most, I'm like 99.9%, but a lot of times too, though, what's annoying, and I'm gonna piss off a lot of people when I say this, but sometimes it has to be said.
Keep it real here.
It's sometimes a lot of the people that want the smallest tattoo possible,
that's a trend now.
Well, not those tattoos, but just like the small simple ones, like I'll just say it like a 5-pointed star or something, but it's the tattoo that's going to take you literally 30 seconds to do. But getting set up for them is taking 10, 15, 20 minutes. You put, okay, where do you want me to put it? They point to where they want it. You put the stencil right there. They go look in the mirror. Then they check with their friends. Their friends tell them, oh, maybe you should move it up and over, 1 millimeter, and you've moved it like 25 different times, and eventually you land right back onto the first one you did, and they're like, yeah, I like it right there. It's like, that gets annoying.
Yeah.
Or, the constant checking with your friends, the constant getting the approval of all these other people that don't want, that aren't getting tattooed.
That's very true. That's very true.
And not even with tattoos. I mean, you just shouldn't go through life
anything
that way.
Like that. Yeah.
So
if anyone told me what not to get and what to get,
right, or
I wouldn't be covered in like this right now because it's all my idea.
Right.
It's all how I want to.
Exactly.
Want to do it. Okay. So, was there a piece that there was one piece that I loved that you did. It was the back piece.
Okay.
I don't know her name. But I know, like, it's the black and white. There's a skull on it.
There's
a lot of things going on.
Yeah, Philippa.
You did a photo shoot with her, too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that piece. That piece is amazing.
It's funny because that piece looks like it took like 300 hours, but the thing is, she's a tiny girl.
Really?
So that means she has a tiny back. So it didn't take that long. I would say her back probably took 25 hours total.
Okay.
And she sits awesome. We had to do like little 2-3 hour increments here and there because she has responsibilities in her life, so it's not like we could just book out 10 hours or anything like that. But awesome girls. She basically let me just run with the idea. She was just like, yeah, it started out with who wants some skull related art on them, and she's like, yeah, as long as you could put like some crows or ravens and a little bit in there.
Such a good piece.
And I was like, okay.
I'll probably like put a photo of it here or somewhere in this video right now. But if you're watching this, what was her name? Philippa, hi. Talking about you. I think that piece is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
It was a lot of fun to do. It was definitely right up my alley. And
you have to do my back.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of canvas back there.
All right.
Okay, so talking about trends earlier, so the scope of tattooing now has definitely grown drastically over the last century. I want to say century is a good time.
Yeah.
Now that it's here and more prevalent, especially with adults, like people with full-time jobs, and everyone, like, it was such a big thing back in the day to like, oh, you can't be hired because you have a wrist tattoo. Hide your wrist tattoo. Right. I mean, it's still like that in some places.
Yeah, I think location definitely has a lot to do with that. I don't, Vegas is pretty open-minded. I mean, you see people
very here and there.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see people with big, elaborate things on the sides of their faces and heads and stuff like that, and they have full-time jobs and
probably have great businesses or doing something on their own.
Yeah, or whatever it is they're doing, they're supporting their families and stuff, and they're able to. I mean, you walk down the Strip or you walk down Fremont Street or even any neighborhood that's not in the vacation corridor, you can see people that are heavily tattooed.
Yeah,
and they're not necessarily in the industry either. But yeah, some places. I mean, even. I remember the last time I went back to Massachusetts to visit, and I stopped in a little convenience store in a small town, and they were just staring at my arms, and I'm just like,
what?
Yeah, and they're just, you could see they were staring at the tattoos, and it's like, oh, and you look across
yeah,
the counter, and
absolutely.
the person's much older. It's like, oh, you guys probably don't have cable yet either, huh? So,
Keeping it real.
yeah.
I get like that. Or that's happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Idaho. Idaho is actually one of those places that you can be really inclusive in.
No, Idaho.
Idaho.
No, Idaho.
My brother lives in Idaho, so I went.
Okay.
It was a few years ago, but I do remember going to the store and having people like I wasn't as covered as
Mm-hmm.
back then than I am now, but
Right.
people were staring. And Idaho is one of those cities where it's just like, okay, you can be. It's normal for
Right.
everyone to have tattoos and body modifications.
Mhm.
And the other part is like, oh my god, why?
Yeah.
You know,
There's definitely a
how does that like? How do you feel now, especially that it's grown in the last 100 years, where it's from or where it came from, how originated, and how taboo tattoos are? Actually, is that an origin of the name?
no tattoo. The word tattoo actually, because I believe it was Captain Cook from England. He was down in the South Pacific, and they were referring to the tattoos. I forget which country it was. It could have been Samoa, Fiji, Hawaii. I couldn't tell you exactly, but the tapping, the tat 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 tat. That's
I
my-
learned something today.
as far as I know. That's where the term tattoo came from.
Wow.
Was the tap 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 tap.
That's how they did it. Like,
Yeah, it was all
OG
hand poked
style.
with they would use different tools of the trade. The sharp points would be like whale bones or teeth, things like that filed down. So
what do you think of the way it was and the way it is now, and then the trends that you see now? How does that like kind of shifted your vision of tattoos moving forward? Or like you talked about trends earlier, like the small dainty tattoos we talked about a lot.
the trends
That's
are
the new one
always
right now for
trends are
for the
always
kiddos.
right. Trends are always coming and going. When I first came in, tribal armbands, lower back tattoos, those were the big deals. And then they just kind of evolved into different directions. I remember when the 5-pointed star, like the nautical stars, those were huge. We on the East Coast, we used to call those Orange County kanjis because it was just like, it seemed like everybody was trying to be like what the people in California were doing.
Yeah.
I think the shortest trend I ever saw was it was like 6 months. All these people were getting YOLO.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
And it came
So
and went.
bad.
It came and went so quick. It was
terrible.
just like, wow, because usually a trend will last a little while because a tattoo is forever. So people are seeing it, but YOLO just came and went real quick. But now, yeah, unfortunately, the trend is the tiny tattoos. Or there's
Tiny, small, geometric. We talked about that last
Yep.
time.
Yep. And then there's also the I'm not being derogatory. I didn't create the term, but there's the basic bitch tattoo, which is
true.
either
But we get that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
That's why it's trend, is because I know exactly what you're talking about.
right. So I mean, you look on Instagram and hashtag basic bitch tattoo, and you're gonna see them all. And
Yeah.
anytime it's and I'm not slamming the people that get that stuff, because the tattoo's different. It has different meanings for everybody, so it's not up to me to
Right.
judge somebody for any reason. But when things get trendy, there's always going to be trends, no matter what.
Yeah.
And as long as as long as the trends are, at least if things are being kept interesting, I don't have a problem with it. You
Yeah.
know? So
I've seen a lot of memes. With
Yeah.
tattoos now.
yeah.
Those are pretty funny. I don't know if that's going to be like 10 years later. Like, remember that meme on me?
Yeah.
Tattoo of a meme?
Right.
Those are pretty fun, but I don't even know how that would be. That's almost like the YOLO. It's just not. You're going to get a meme tattoo, and then memes go away, and then.
I don't understand how things become so trendy to begin with, because
Right.
it's like, just like anything, and I was just talking about memes with my wife the other day. It's like, is there some like core like company or some core group of people that like starts it, and then they get it onto everybody's like Facebook timeline somehow, and then it just takes off like wildfire? Because I've seen some that are just like not funny at all. I don't get it, and I mean, a lot of shit goes right over my head anyway. So, but there's just some. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand it, but what's so funny about this, and why is this taking off the way it is? And I've seen other memes that are hilarious, but I've only seen it one time.
Right.
So
I don't know how that works either. I think it's just by luck sometimes.
Yeah.
The right people.
Well, I
right
guess I
sites.
guess the same thing can be said for anything, clothing. Like
Right.
there's been some dumb fashions over the years, and for whatever reason, that's what took off.
Yeah.
But What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
I'm just gonna
not gonna
tattoo
do
it
anything,
all.
right?
You know?
We're just gonna tattoo them all anyways.
If you're a sucker for trends, I'll gladly take your money.
All right, so let's get into your music now. You
Okay.
also do music.
Sure.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
talk about your projects.
Okay. I'm in a band called Achromatica. We are we call it heathen war metal. I guess it's like death metal and black metal. And I also do some of my own solo stuff as well. So I'm not sure if it'll make the Achromatica cut or not. It's always to be submitted. But if it sounds a little different and they don't like it, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So.
And I'm gonna play you guys a sample of Krystof's song. Which one was it? Last time we decided on the
Which
Wolf's Awake?
The Wolf is Awake. Yeah.
The Wolf is Awake.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna play you guys a clip of that song right now. Go ahead and introduce.
The Wolf is Awake by Achromatica.
All right, good stuff, Krystof. Good stuff.
Thanks.
What's your one of your inspirations when you like put something together? You have a band. Obviously, it's a lot of minds working at once.
I mean, whenever I try to, like, if I set some time, say, next Wednesday I'm going to go in the studio and work. A lot of times there's nothing in my head happening. I just can't seem to get anything together. And there's naturally I'm more creative whenever I'm not in the environment for whatever reason. It's like, I hope I remember that so I can.
All right, like if you're not in here,
yeah,
it just goes. It's up there.
And but there was a friend of mine once said, like, all the best riffs that are written and all the cool songs, it's actually in the ether, like like the spirits of the dead are actually playing it, and if you open up your mind enough, you can actually pick up snippets of it.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting, whether it's true or not. I thought that's interesting because there's days where, like, I'm just kind of tired or whatever, and like some cool shit will just start going in my head, and it's like, wait a minute, did I hear that, or is this like, is this
being brought up?
Is this coming through me, or is this something that I heard previously? So and then you just kind of run with it. And unfortunately, because I'm not like a real musician, I'm just kind of like this, hack. A lot of times I'll have a riff in my head, and it's like, yes. So then I have to teach myself how to play it, and I'm not really good at it. I can get it once, but I can't.
That's how it's organically made. Like you. Just
yeah,
comes from
but
the
then
bottom.
then I have to figure out a drum pattern to go with it. So I screw around with the drum pattern, and I get the right beat, but then I have to hope that I remembered the riff. And so I built the studio here so I can just like record the riff, and then that way I don't have to worry about remembering it if I already have it recorded. So
see, I like how you the way you work, because it's very similar to like how everything else in your life, like your tattooing, everything, like it's very organic. We were talking about that earlier. It's very just natural. It comes from the bottom up. You literally put like time and effort into it.
I'd be lying if I didn't admit though that I do get a little jealous of those people that just like that. They're like, okay,
like some kind of like the magic,
like all this shit just comes out of them on
the
demand.
magic formula.
Yeah, and they just my hat goes off to those people. I'm not one of those people. It's like if something comes to me and I think it's a great idea, I have to capture it. And the next day I might not even think it's a great idea, because there's days where I've done some work in here. I thought it was awesome, and then the next day I listen to it and I'm just like,
you hard on yourself.
That sounds awful.
A little hard on yourself.
Well, no, I have to be satisfied with it, and I could very well be satisfied one day and then the next day not be satisfied. So I mean, I do have before I got all this stuff, I had this little tiny recorder. I have about 20 different examples of songs that I've worked with and tried to make something out of, and maybe 2 of them I think are good. But at the time when I recorded them, I thought they were very good. So
that's the process, though. If you look into musicians and producers, like there's always 100, 200, 300 things.
Well, I do get a little jealous that that's their job, and they can spend all day doing it, whereas I'll think of my best stuff when I'm in the shower getting ready to go to work,
or when you're in the middle of a tattoo session.
Yes, like all the times I can't write it down. You know? So
you just have someone, the client, write it down for you.
And I wish I could write music, because that would be, I could keep it in my head long enough to just get the 5 bars and put the notes where they're supposed to go and stuff.
Right.
Nope. I'm the guy with his cell phone in my car. Something comes to my head. Okay. That's how it's done. Blast beat. And then 6 hours later, I'll be like, what the fuck am I even talking about?
That sounded dumb.
Yeah.
That's how it's done too. A lot of artists do that.
Yeah, well, they're doing it right. I'm doing these like really dumb, primitive ways of trying to remember it. And
oh my gosh.
And it doesn't help that, you know how you hear your voice when you talk, like in your head you hear it, but then when you hear yourself on an audio format, you sound completely different.
The podcast.
Right. So when I'm trying to mimic this music that I'm hearing in my head, and I hear it on my phone, and it's in a completely different key than what was in my head. So when I listen to it, several hours later, I'm like, what?
Yeah, so, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. Is there anything like moving forward you want to do with Acromatica? Like, are you guys performing anywhere, or is that a goal?
We have a gig coming up in July.
Hey.
At Backstage Bar and Billiards, but the date keeps getting changed because we agreed to it before COVID.
True.
So the date kept getting pushed because the bars and the restaurants and stuff, they have the things that they have to comply with. So to no fault of their own, I'm not blaming anybody. So we may or may not have a date at Backstage Bar and Billiards in July. We did a recording. We weren't too happy with it, so that's why I built this to try to mix it a little better. And who knows what the future holds. We have we're not one of these bands that are trying to, we're not these young hungry guys that are trying to get signed and tour the world and stuff like that. We're very happy just being a heavy band in Vegas, and a few of the right people have heard us and they really liked us. So hey, if we can open up for some of these bands that are touring and stop in Vegas, that's perfect for us. That's because fun. we have jobs, we have families, we have careers, and we're settled into our life. To pick up right now and do a world tour, not that anybody knows who we are that wants to see us, but if that opportunity happened, I don't know if it'd be possible, Right. And it's not like they would start offering us a ton of money to do it, because the music industry is raping the artists now worse than ever. Mm-hmm. So somebody's making a lot of money off of the artists. They're not making shit, Right. You gotta get a lot of streams, because that's the new format. You got to get a lot of streams to make a little bit of money.
That's very true.
It's horrible. It really is. Most artists are making merch or making money off of their merch. That's barely enough to get them to the next town. So I always say, if you go see a band on tour, buy their shirt, buy their CD, buy something of theirs that's going to help them get to the next gig.
My brother has a couple bands that he always tells me about his stories too.
Yeah. Just gotta do it because you love it,
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way to do it. Yeah. I feel like June 1st we're supposed to go 100% capacity. So
is it June 1st?
June 1st. I feel like we're gonna see Acromatica live.
We'll see.
Awesome.
Let's hope I don't slip and fall on a banana peel between now and then.
Is that gonna be?
Well, if I break another vertebrae, might be hobbling around on stage screaming in real pain instead of
I thought you were gonna do that on stage, just have a banana peel randomly in the middle.
Oh, geez. Hopefully nobody's throwing banana peels at us on stage. Hoping for that.
Don't catch me throw banana peels.
Yeah. Throw them back.
Okay, so, all right, so there's going to be a lot of people watching this, guys, right now. Hello, everybody.
Everybody.
Hi, everybody. Krystof's friends, family, fans.
Enemies. Lots of them out there.
Probably.
Foes.
Probably.
Yeah.
We're not even joking.
Arch nemesis.
I'm not even joking about that, though. We're not even joking about that, though. I've known your past stories. Anyway.
There's spies everywhere. You know how people, they don't like you, but they act like they want nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
But then they're totally like, stalking you.
I feel like I'm going to have one of those, some people watching this or listening to this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Go ahead and plug everything where you're at.
Okay.
Shout outs to whoever is on your mind.
Shout outs. I mean, there's so many awesome people there. If I had to shout out everybody, we'd be here for a long time.
It's like your speech at the Oscars. It's just
oh jeez, yeah. I wouldn't even appear at the Oscars if I won an Oscar.
Tattoo award show.
Everybody in the world is capable of winning an Oscar, and the reason why I say that is because every time you've ever been pulled over by a cop, you put on a good act.
That's pretty true. That's pretty true.
I don't care. I've done it in the past. I'd have many beers in me, and have you been drinking tonight, sir? It's like, yeah. Those people that always get screwed, they're the ones that are like, I had 2 beers. It's like, no, you can't say that. The common the equation is I think 3 beers within an hour, and you can still stay under the legal limit. And it depends on body weight, obviously. But for me, it was 3 beers within an hour, and I would say, yeah, I had 7 beers over the course of 9 hours. That equates to sobriety right there.
Right.
So and going back to the Oscars, yeah, anybody can do that stuff.
Anybody can win an Oscar.
Yes.
2021.
Just pretend there's a cop looking at you.
Krystof 2020. Anyone can win an Oscar.
Anybody can win an Oscar. Okay, not true, but
hold on. Disclaimer. Yeah. So for you guys watching, leave a comment down below. I'm gonna have this on Facebook, YouTube, obviously Spotify and iTunes. But leave a comment below. Shout out to everyone watching right now.
RevoltTattoos.com.
Revolt Tattoos. Everyone that has gotten a piece from Krystof, everyone who's been
thank you
online,
for everybody that's gotten a piece from me. Well, most everybody.
Ooh, do you want to talk about that?
Well, no, I have a small handful of people I've tattooed in the past that I'd rather not associate with.
Right.
Be like so my thing to them is just basically fuck them. So
pretty good.
Yeah,
this is pretty good.
Facebook. Achromatica is on Facebook. We don't have a YouTube channel. We're not all that.
Not yet.
No, probably not. Somebody's got to maintain that. It's like, yeah.
You guys have an EP, right? No.
We got the recording
EP.
that still needs to be mixed.
Yeah.
Where's my logo that I showed off in the first video?
Boom. Is it
One.
upside down?
Probably. Just in case, but I'm pretty sure it's the right way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, shout out to my mentor, inker, Jamie Cross, Paul Musso, and all the tattoo artists I've worked with in the past that helped get me to where I am. Musical influences, Glenn Benton from Deicide. I mean, the guy was a phenomenal old school death metal vocalist and set a style that many have tried to emulate since then, and probably a little bit of myself included. Yeah, shout out to my friends in Atomic War Machine, all the bands that we've played with. It's been a blast, and there's no sign of slowing down. So.
Oh. All right, so
I'm glad the room's dimly lit because I'm blushing right now.
Are you?
I don't handle praise and applause
too good. Krystof's amazing, everybody. Krystof's just
that.
amazing. Take the compliment.
Traumatized
earlier. Okay, so is there one piece of advice, whether it be in any area of life, that you want to bring up, and something that you've learned and kept with you from the longest time, that you would give someone to this day? Let's just.
That's a question.
It's very vague, but I want to see what you come up with.
It's a question that I'm sure I could have answered any other time, but when I'm asked a question like that, I don't know what to say. I mean, when it comes to tattooing, and I guess this could cover a lot of bases, do a lot of research because, everybody, we have all the information in the world literally in our pocket on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And just a little bit of research goes a long way. And there's so many people, like I'll get tagged on stuff, and I appreciate the tag, but like on Facebook, there'll be a discussion. Somebody will be like, who's the tattoo artist to go see in Vegas? And while I appreciate the tag, I appreciate the tag, but at the same time, it's like you shouldn't just be asking strangers who to go get a tattoo from. You should actually do some research. Every shop or every tattoo artist has a Facebook page or some sort of something on social media to research it. Look at all their work. Look at everything they've done. And then if you feel comfortable and you find a style that you like, then go to the shop and check it out and see if it's an environment you want to be in. It's not hard to do, but so many people, they don't want to take that first step for whatever reason. They just want to have somebody tell them where to go, somebody tell them what to do, what to get.
Yeah.
And you got to do your own research or you're never going to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm flattered when people ask me because that means like they actually like quality.
And I appreciate it, but I more just feel bad for the people that aren't really researching stuff because there's
true.
If there's people that don't know, like they're taking advice from people that may not know a heck of a lot about tattoos to begin with, and go see my buddy at so and so. He's the best in town. He'll hook you up. And it's like I've looked at some of these answers and it's like, wow, this person sucks. This person is like, and again, not to contradict what I said about, I tattoo differently. I try not to slam other people. But there's people that got into tattooing because they thought it was going to be an easy way to make money.
Right.
And specifically that. And with me, it's like it's the only thing I really know how to do for a living. I don't have any other skills. I mean, I went to school for architectural drafting, but that was a long time ago. Whatever I learned is out the window.
It doesn't count.
Right. So, but really just a little bit of research goes a long way. Don't just go by people's word for things, because even if you ask somebody, hey, who should I get a tattoo from? And they recommended somebody really awesome, their style might not be what you like. You know? So just make sure that do your research and get the right answers that you need, not the answers that you want, if that makes sense. So
no, totally. Was there a life lesson? Let's go back to advice. That one's a good one for
a life lesson.
Tattoos. What's a life lesson that you would like? This is like going to be in your will and testament, deathbed kind of stuff.
Try to keep a positive outlook no matter what, because there's always no matter how hard the chips are down or whatever, it's always going to be better. So have as much fun as you can, because your time here is just borrowed. It's just it's limited, and if you put things off, eventually you're not going to be able to do it. So it's really important to just like make the most out of every single day and plan for big things. Because if you just big things aren't going to happen if you don't plan. You gotta put that together. So everybody would love to be like, I'm going to be a millionaire someday. I'm going to have the big house and this and that, But unless you put the work in to get it, and that requires a plan to go forward. And whatever you decide to do in life, whatever. Whether you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a garbage man, just do that job to the best of your abilities. Don't be the second-rate garbage man. Don't be the second-rate doctor. Don't be the second-rate electrician. Just be the best that you can be. And if you're struggling with it and it's not happening for you, then maybe it's time to find something else to do. Because it'd be good to. Everybody wants to have the title of what they want to be recognized as, but if you're not good at it, you got to recognize it and maybe move on to something that you would be good at and get more joy out of succeeding at. So.
That's really good advice. I was getting emotional when you were talking.
Oh,
I was getting really emotional when you were talking. I was like, I will have more fun.
You gotta make it as much fun as possible.
It's really good advice.
You have to.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the last things too, how does Krystof attack life?
Oh, Krystof doesn't attack anything anymore. I'm not a young buck anymore. Krystof just kind of floats by, hoping to make it to the next day.
Floats over life.
Yeah, Krystof sidesteps life. Because the great Typo Negative song, "Life is Killing Me." Life is killing us all when you think about it. No, I mean, a typical day starts, I get ready to go to work. I'm ready to do the tattoo that I have booked because I plan for it the night before. So it's in my head. and then I go to work. I do the best job I can, and then that night I'm getting ready for the next tattoo the next day. And on my days off, I'm in here trying to make music if I'm feeling creative, or I'm working on my car. But you know, I think the more stuff you have on your plate without overworking yourself is going to keep you alive longer.
I think so too.
Because if you're one of those people that retires and then you just want to sit in your recliner and watch Jeopardy the rest of your life, probably not going to have much more after that. And why would you want to work 65, until you're 65 or 70 years old and just have a couple of years left of doing nothing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, enjoy life. Like, there's a lot of people that work very hard, and then when they retire, they have big things, and that's great. But again, it goes back to have as much fun as you can the whole ride. And, you got responsibilities. You might not be able to do this or do that quite yet, but just make the most fun out of everything while still being responsible, while still being...
Make time for the things that, your creative projects and out. I do agree with that. Like, the more you have in your life, the better it is to just know that you can go back to it. And that makes me happy, too, you know? Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Right.
Is there any last words before we wrap this up?
Be good to yourself, Be good to yourself, be good to others. Don't take no shit. Don't let anybody hold you down.
Nice. And with that, we're going to wrap this episode up. Krystof, one more time, where can we find you?
Revolt Tattoos inside Fashion Show Mall on the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. Sometimes in Salt Lake City, sometimes in Lake Tahoe.
Social media?
Social media, let's see, revolttattoos.com. Facebook.com/Revolt Tattoos, I want to say. I don't know. But they're on Instagram, at Revolt Tattoos. Tattoos by Krystof is on Instagram, and there's a couple of underscores.
Tattoos. At tattoos _ Krystof?
Something like that.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I'm sure if you go to the search bar and type tattoo, Krystof, I'm probably going to come up.
I have to give everyone the right one.
And I don't even know the right one. Technology, come on.
I don't even know the right one.
There's probably an exclamation point somewhere. I don't know.
It's period, ampersand, somewhere in there.
Yeah, with an emoji of a shithead. I don't know.
Okay, I guess my job is to make sure all the links are down below for you guys.
I will send you the links. Because,
there we go.
I'll have to copy and paste, because I'll look at it and I'll screw something up. My big dumb thumb that I was talking about earlier will type in like four of the
hands.
Yeah, these janky beat up hands. I'm always good for typing in 4 or 5 wrong letters, and then my phone will not autocorrect to the right word. Even though every time I try, I can spell fuck like a motherfucker, and my phone always still feels the need to say duck. Okay,
right.
I can type in fuck really good. What the fuck, and my phone will always say what the duck.
Yep.
Why does it autocorrect that? But then when I type in something like I'll message somebody, and my phone throws in these words that I don't even use in any vocabulary.
That's so true.
And I'm just like,
that's not what I said.
Why? I
do speech to text now. Speech to text comes in handy.
But I got a dumb voice too, so even when I talk into my phone, it says the wrong things.
It doesn't hear you though. That's what it is. If I need to send a text real quick, I just say it and then send it.
But no, I know I'm not talking about I have a dumb voice like I'm afraid of somebody hearing my voice. I got a dumb voice where my phone doesn't pick it up right.
Really?
And it still autocorrects. When your phone is autocorrecting what you're saying, and I did okay in English in high school,
It just kind of gets annoying and frustrating.
Yeah, and eventually. I don't think I have a slur, Do I sound like a drunken sailor when I talk?
Krystof versus technology.
Yeah, technology won, Krystof nothing.
Will be the next podcast episode.
Krystof tapped out to technology.
Will be a video here as well. See what we can do.
Even I get scared with that. We have video here. Fuck. I should have shaved.
All right, Krystof, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
It was a lot of fun. We'll probably revisit another episode in the future.
All right.
Check in and tell more of your crazy stories. There's so many stories you have.
Yeah.
I really love hearing all the crazy stories.
I don't even think of them as being crazy. People ask me all the time, what's the craziest thing ever from a tattoo shop? It's like, I don't know.
Oh, one time.
Yeah, and then
the other time.
But then when I'm telling the stories, I have to remember I guess that would seem pretty crazy to somebody that doesn't work in a tattoo shop.
To it.
There was a long time ago. This guy came into a shop that I worked in, and he tried to rob the place. And
how do you do that?
he had a knife or something, and one of the artists grabbed a handful of needles out of the sharps container and put it right up to his face and said, "What do you want? You want hep? You want AIDS? Because I will give it to you right now."
Oh my god!
And the guy just turned around and left.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
To someone who's not exposed to it.
Yeah. And there's been fights inside some shops and stuff. You always get one idiot.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna revisit this and go back to your crazy stories. Guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, listening.
Thank you.
All around the world. I know Krystof has so many international clients and fans and all that good stuff.
Hail Sweden, hail Australia, Canada, Germany. My friends Alex and Evie over in Germany. And yes, I miss you all. I cannot wait for the travel restrictions to be lifted.
And we're going to get to that. Yes, we are. I'm so excited. I'm going to have all the links down below for Krystof, for me, Cat Attacks Life. We're on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. I have an Instagram now. I'll put all of those in the description box below. This is also going on my Facebook page, Cat Attacks Life. So like this page if you're watching it there as well. I'll have Krystof's things, Revolt Tattoos, Achromatica Tattoos _ by _ Krystof on Instagram. I think
probably about right.
I think that's right. This has been Cat Attacks Life. Krystof, send us out. Send us out of here. Oh.
Signing out.
Peace.
Violence.